Sling TV has something for everyone. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. But no matter what you're looking for, you can watch it with Sling. Sports, news, and today's hottest shows. Plus, you can explore thousands of movies and shows on demand. And getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. Stream on any device and record up to 50 hours with included DVR space. Plus, you won't get locked into a long-term contract. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today. Welcome to the Andy Staples Show, presented by Sling. Ari and I are here in Oxford, Mississippi. He has eaten a chicken fried steak sandwich that may have changed his life. He actually may have come up with a $1 million idea.
Yeah, I think that we need to nationalize
country fried steak
sandwiches, or country fried steak in general, because it's not something that you could get. My mission will not be complete until it's as widely available as chicken sandwiches.
So you're going to become the Chick-fil-A of country fried steak. I'm here for that. Now, those who live in the South know that Hardee's has been doing steak biscuits for years, but you're right, it's not that common. And so we went to Ajax Diner, and they do a country fried steak sandwich, and it's got mashed potatoes and butter beans on it, and a pickle and cabbage, and it is a magical sandwich. And I think you're right. I think
how many people have gotten rich, not because they have a great idea, but because they've taken a great idea to where it hasn't been discovered yet.
I told you about Bob Baumhauer, who played at Alabama and then played for the Dolphins. And when he played for the Dolphins, they'd go to Buffalo and they'd eat wings. And so he gets done in the NFL and starts a restaurant in Alabama. And he's like, I'm going to serve chicken wings. And people are like, why would anybody eat the chicken wing?
Yeah. Ass steaks. How's that sound?
I like it. I like it. And we'll have to workshop the name.
Yeah.
But we have something really big for you guys today. So we're here in Oxford to eat country fried steak, obviously, but also to interview Lane Kiffin. And we sat down with Lane Kiffin in his office, and it was a fantastic talk. We busted out the would you rather questions.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting guy, and well, you'll see why he's smarter than us when you hear those would you rather questions.
Just a dude I would want to go eat dinner with and just hang out with. And I wouldn't even want to talk about football with the guy.
I'm very fascinated by his take on things. And it was interesting because all of our would you rather questions usually involve a lot of money. I don't think we've ever asked them of a millionaire before. So it was very good. But he also had a lot to say about, this team this year, what they're building at Ole Miss. We talk about the transfer portal, but they've got some players that he's recruited that are pretty damn good. And you realize that he came in 2020 when there wasn't really a chance to even have people on campus or have them visit. So this is, if you think about it, these last couple of recruiting classes are the first real recruiting classes he's had. And some of those guys are doing great. Quinshon Judkins specifically at tailback. So 5-0, headed to Vanderbilt. Good chance they go 6-0. And look, the back end of the schedule is brutal, but this could be a special year at Ole Miss. So let's talk to Lane Kiffin about that year. Sling TV has something for everyone. All your favorite shows on your favorite channels, all right at your fingertips. What you watch is up to you. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. So if you're looking for sports, Sling's got you covered with pro and college football and basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, racing, and so much more. Sling also has reality TV, so you can keep up with the latest gossip with today's hottest shows on channels like TLC, Bravo, MTV, and more. Don't forget about the news. Get up to date with today's most trusted sources like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. Feeling adventurous? Explore thousands of movies and shows on demand. So what kind of mood are you in? No matter your answer, Sling has what you need. Getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. You can stream on any device and record up to 50 hours with your included DVR space. And the best part is you can pause or customize your subscription at any time. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today. We're here with Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin, and the Rebels now 5-0 after beating Kentucky. And Lane, I'm going to start out by asking about your coordinators. This video of Charlie Weiss Jr. and Chris Partridge, it's a beautiful thing, maybe a little bit too low angle for Chris's taste. But when you have coordinators hugging like that after a game, what does that tell you about your staff?
That it's a really close, unique staff. And so, I mean, that was so powerful and cool to see. Like, after the game, like locker room was great, everything. And then it kind of calms down. You're kind of sitting there like, and you turn another game on and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, we won. It was great. And it kind of dies down a little bit. And, kind of like your buzz dies down a little bit. And then I saw that video and it like brought everything back. Like it was so cool, like to see that and to see how they were and just how they were versus like, here's the offensive coordinator that could be like in the tank. Like, well, we screwed up on offense. We didn't play very well, like versus like, who cares? We won the game. That's all that matters. And that was really cool to see. And it kind of even overflowed into, we did a lot of things poorly in the game, especially on special teams and offense that, you sit there Sunday or Monday with the players, you're frustrated, you're mad because you wish you would have called a different play. You wish they would have done this, and we could have kind of blown the game open 2-score, 3-score lead versus letting them hang around. And I joked with the players because they know we always try to find something positive out of everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm really mad about these plays, but had you made these, then we wouldn't have been in the situation. We would have never had the video at the end, and our fans wouldn't have had that memory of the stadium, rocking at the end and everything. So, I was like, hey, thanks guys for being so bad in 4-minute offense.
Lane, that was a very sturdy program you guys played that has been building something for, 3 or 4 years and have progressively become like, this is what their expectation is. To get a win like that, what does that say about where your program is currently and how you feel in terms of looking into the future for what it could be, even this year?
Well, I think it feels good on everything you said. Plus, we lost so much last year. We beat them 2 years ago when we played them. And if we would have beat them last year, we had all these guys that we knew were going to be good and thought it'd be a great year. And so to have to rebuild and reload and to beat them early in the year like that is a really good feeling about the direction of the program.
So you've helped cast yourself. I think you've kind of helped brand yourself as the king of the portal. But I look at that game. You have Micah Pettis making his first start as an offensive tackle and playing great. Quinshon Judkins is leading the SEC in rushing at this point. How much can you kind of marry the concepts of filling the holes on your roster through the portal and targeted portal recruiting and then having these homegrown guys?
Yeah, actually both tackles are redshirt freshmen, high school signees. So that's pretty cool. Like somebody said, when we're looking at the game a year ago, would you have, thought both tackles are redshirt freshmen and the tailback carrying the ball at the end was a true freshman. So that is exciting because, they're there for a while. And it's exciting to see some balance. So it's just not all portal guys. And I didn't name myself Portal King, by the way. Someone tweeted that and I retweeted it. But
retweets are endorsements. I've learned that's what the tweeters tell me.
I did think it was funny with the Tiger King thing, so I did retweet that.
Lane, the thing that I'm curious about,
and we were passed by Lincoln Riley, so I sent him one. I texted him one day. I said, "You are actually the Portal King."
It's funny because you have this online Twitter persona, right? That people like view you as like a certain type of person. And, this is the first time I've met you face to face, but this, isn't that persona. Like, what do you want people to think that you are? And how does that differ from who you think maybe you are?
I just like confusing them. I don't know. I just think often in like coaching, you just see, especially if you don't cover them, you're not there daily around the program, you just, start to think something of someone based off of something they did, or you made an opinion early. This is what they are. And so we have those opinions of people, and then I've had them, and then you go work for someone like as a head coach, like, well, he's nothing what I thought, or what outside thinks. So I would say Twitter is probably a lot closer to how I really am daily. Than what maybe people think.
You've been more outspoken, it feels like, even the last year or so, talking about the portal and talking about NIL. And it feels like you say things that other coaches definitely think, because I hear them say it off the record. You say it in press conferences. You say it with a microphone in your face. Was that a conscious decision to just say, look, why don't we just talk about this stuff?
I guess maybe that kind of after the firing at USC, like, the whole like, hey, you're supposed to say this all the time and the coach speak and everything. I was just like, after that, like, I don't really know why we do all that. And we really just waste time in press conferences and interviews and don't say anything that really matters, and, you know, just say the company line. So I think FAU loosened that, you know, and then I just kind of kept going that, like, hey, I'm going to ask a question. I'm just going to tell you what's going on.
That just made you my favorite coach in college football. Thank you for saying that.
Favorite one to interview, because it's not so boring.
General. You know, but it is an interesting thing when you look at just how much has been changing in the sport. And we've said this on the show. You could probably make the case that there's been more evolution in the sport in the last 3 years than maybe even the previous 25 combined. You know, as a coach who, you know, was at a new place during, you know, going into the COVID years and all the stuff that you've had to manage. You know, we talk about roster, you know, management, portal king, you know, recruiting a new state. Like, I mean, that seems like a lot for a human being to kind of adjust to. You know, how do you think you've managed that? And do you think that the evolution piece of college football, as it pertains to your role as a coach, is going to continually be like this on an annual basis moving forward with all these changes?
Well, I can't imagine like more significant changes coming like these two that did, which I say in about the same year. Even though portal's earlier than NIL, portal really didn't like hit to where like kids are like, oh, I'm going in. Portal initially was just like, okay, I'm not pleased how I'm playing, I want to go somewhere else. It wasn't like, you know, as viewed as like free agency, like, hey, that place may be better for me, or, you know, a better team that I'll win more games and stuff. So I think the fact that basically in the same year span that NIL hit of, I say it's not pay for play, but we all know it's pay for play. So you're now a professional sport in a 1 year span. Those two things are so significant. I don't know how there could have been an error, like you say, 25 years combined, that would change so much. And it really just made the sport what professional sports are, that it's so much financially based and about money. And now you have conferences that have changed and are changing, and people are leaving conferences. So if anybody wants to get on the kids for chasing more money, just look at their leadership of, you know, what programs are doing. I mean, going across country to change conferences for more money.
That brings us to the would you rather question. This is something we do on the show. Ari comes up with some of the most just odd would you rather this or this. He's got one he came up with for you that I think is really, because I want to know how you feel about it. But I'll give you a sample of one I had to answer. There was one where Ari said, would you take $10 million, but it meant there will be a turtle at some point who just starts walking towards you. And if he gets within 5 feet of you, you die. But you don't know when he's coming, and you don't know when he'll get there. Or where he started. So would you take the $10 million and just kind of move around and hope the turtle doesn't find you, because he's a turtle, he's slow, he's not a ninja turtle? Would you take that money? I said, yes, I'll take that money. I will risk that. But we were workshopping him today. He has one that I think is really interesting for you because of how well you've handled the.
Can we dive back to the turtle thing? Like, I'm waiting
go back
for more of it.
Yeah.
Like, so
it's
$10 million whether the turtle can find you,
it's
or no money, and then I don't worry about the turtle.
Yeah, the turtle, you just live your life and nothing happens.
Okay.
Would you take the money, or would you want to live the rest of your life knowing that this thing that's very slow probably can't catch up to you, but know every night that when you go to bed for 8 hours, that's an 8 hour window where this turtle, it knows where you are at all times and is in constant pursuit of you?
What happens? And I die if you find me?
If it gets within 5 yards of you.
I wouldn't like that. So
yeah, but what if
I know, like we tell our players all the time, they think like money's going to solve everything. If I get in the, this is every player forever for the most part. If I get in the NFL and I get money, every problem is going to go away because I have money. So now, being fortunate to have money, that's not true, and it does create more problems.
Yeah.
So yes, I would not want that feeling going to sleep that like that turtle is going to like crawl in.
Well, then we know how you'd answer the other one he asked me once.
Okay.
Where
I think it's still a good thing.
Would you take $10 million and know that you'd wake up fine every day, or no, would take no money and know you'd wake up fine every day? Or would you take $10 million and there's a 5% chance you'll wake up covered in peanut butter
every day, or just
like once and on an average of once every 20 days you will wake up covered in peanut butter and must wash it off? Which
I would think you take the money. I mean, you just shower and
exactly. Thank you. All right, give him the one
thing that you're not considering is that if you wake up in your own bed covered in peanut butter, how much of a disaster of a mess that would be.
You have a lot of money. You can buy bedlines. All right, go with the one you were going to ask.
Well, the one question that I had before we get to the would you rather, so I'm going to hit you with two. And I thought this was an important thing because you have a background in professional football, and now you just said that this is professional football. And it's something that we consider all the time on the show. But is your relationship, how you coach, how these players, are treated, not that they weren't treated good before, but does that change now that they're making money?
I don't think it changes like daily interaction at all. I think it just changes because the money part's in combination with the portal and like kids can leave. So in the back of your mind, there is some like, okay, hey, when that guy doesn't play, he may leave, or before they really didn't leave for the most part, or hey, am I coaching that guy too hard and he's going to get mad and leave? Now, I'm not saying that changes a whole lot, but that may be in the back of my mind. But I don't think that that's money based because they have money. The only thing that I see a little bit of, and I'd be interested to know the places with these huge, I call them contracts the players have, does that change the players' like drive? Because we know that happens all the time in life. People get money and their drive changes. It happens in the first round of the NFL. They get all this money and then their drive changes. So that would be the piece that I would wonder a little bit like, hey, I have this drive because in their mind, I have no money because all I have is this scholarship check and I can barely get groceries and everything. Now I have some money. Like, does their drive change a little bit? I've not seen that, but then again, we don't have these players that some of these others.
Okay, so now to the money based would you rather. If I gave you $100 million right now in a briefcase, clean money, it's yours, do whatever you want with it, scot free right now, you could take that and live the rest of your life this way. Or I'm offering you the ability to go back 10 years in time. 10 years ago today, you go into your body wearing the shirt that you were wearing that day, starting off life from that point on with all the knowledge that you have in your head right now of what you've learned in the past 10 years. Inventions, new businesses, new offense, the direction of the game.
This is a no-brainer. This is like Back to the Future because you could bet on sporting events and you'd make the $100 million. So you would already know who wins the Super Bowl.
So you would just take,
even before that part, even before I thought about it, you could make the money because once you said you would know the future, so you could just make money.
What if I took the ability to gamble on sports out of it?
I still would 100%. Like that's easy. To go back 10 years, to be able to like know what was going to happen and make just handles things different ways and stuff. I would definitely do that.
You could, yeah.
But if you went back like 13, then I may just stay at Tennessee and who knows what would happen. So if you change the game to 13 years.
Yeah, let's change the game to 13 years.
Wow.
Well, I already said I would have went back. So
well, yeah. I guess like the thing I'm a little disappointed in is that like that was probably too easy for you.
It's way too easy.
I love that he went straight to Biff Tannen though. Like that is.
Yeah, because if you know who's going to win the Super Bowl and you have any amount of money, you can just bet it and win it immediately.
Plus, it's like as you get older, at least I do, I see that thing now about like you can't buy time. You can have all the money in the world, but you can't buy time. Time's going to run out. So I do see that.
This shows how dumb I am though, because I'm like, oh, you could do that. You'd have this offense, and you'd know the portal was coming. You could do no, just put all the money on the games that nobody knew was going to happen. Like put all the money on George. Well, was it not George Mason or Butler or whoever? Some NCAA tournament upset. Oh, St. Peter's beating Kentucky. Like that. I didn't even think of that. This is why he's
the 16 seed.
Yeah, it was like supposed to be like a thing that's like, all
but take that out. Just think about like what you could do. Like you'd be like,
stock market.
Hey guys,
well, the stock market.
There's going to be this thing, COVID.
But I offered him $100 million.
And people would be like, what?
Oh yeah, you're going to buy Pfizer stock is what you're going to do. That's
a good point.
You're going to buy Zoom stock. Lane, we've now wasted plenty of your time with the would you rather. So this is you are no longer doing anything valuable for your program. So we're sorry about that. But thank you so much.
This is not helping us on third down or red zone, but it was entertaining.
ReserveBar is your online source for premium and luxury spirits, wine, and champagne. And now ReserveBar offers same-day delivery. Reserve Bar has a vast lineup of rare and hard to find bottles, premium brands, celebrity spirits, and limited releases that you just won't find at your local store. No one does spirits gifting better than Reserve Bar. Looking for an elevated gift? ReserveBar.com has you covered, and you can have that gift delivered right to their door. Even better, turn that spirits gift into a cherished memento with custom engraving. It's perfect for birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, you name it. Visit ReserveBar.com today and use the promo code Andy to save $10 off your purchase of $75 or more on spirits, wine, or pre-made cocktails, but only when you use our special offer at ReserveBar.com with the code Andy. That's ReserveBar.com and code Andy. The offer expires December 31st, 2022. ReserveBar.com and the code is Andy. Imagine having one extra day every week, more time to cook healthy meals, work on that novel, or just binge some really good TV. Heck, I might just do laundry on that day so that I don't have to worry about it the other days. That sounds perfect to me. Now it's all possible with ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you one day a week on work, guaranteed. ClickUp began with the premise that productivity was broken. There were too many tools to keep track of, too many things in entirely separate ecosystems. There had to be a more productive way to get through the daily hustle. ClickUp is the one tool to house all your tasks, projects, docs, goals, spreadsheets, and more. ClickUp is built for teams from 1 to 1,000 plus. It's packed with features and customization options that no other productivity tool has, so you can work the way that you work best. Whether you're in project management, engineering, sales, marketing, or HR, ClickUp has easy-to-use solutions that create a more efficient work environment. Join the more than 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp today. Use the code Andy to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com and use the code Andy for 15% off. That's clickup.com and use the code Andy. Hurry, this offer ends soon. And we're back. How about that?
You know what I love about the show, Andy, and what I love about you is you let me just be weird.
Well, that's the best part.
You just let me be weird.
You bristle when I say you are Jim Harbaugh weird. I mean it as a compliment.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, that you got to get the right coach at the right time to entertain. It was like, this is in the middle of a game week here.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here talking about smothering Lane Kiffin in peanut butter.
I didn't think he was going to care about the turtle question. He had many more questions about the turtle, but the Biff Tannen thing I thought was brilliant. But I thought the most telling thing he said was, if you made it 13 years, I'd just stay at Tennessee. And I don't think he's saying that as in I'd rather be at Tennessee than Ole Miss.
Not at all. No, that's not yeah.
He's saying I had a good thing going, and I thought USC was the thing I needed to do for my career. But I should have stayed with the good thing I had going.
And I also think he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like there have been some not so great years in the Lane Kiffin stock market. And I think it's possible that we would view him in this country as college football fans a little bit differently if he stayed the course. You know, maybe not. Maybe it would have exploded and whatever. But given what he's done, you know, I think you all could make the case, too, that having gone through the USC stuff and going to FAU and doing the things that he did, that he's a more mature, advanced coach now. So, you know, it's kind of a catch-22. And, you know, everybody always says something happens for a reason. And I don't know if I believe that stuff or not. But yeah, the fact that he even goes back and acknowledges that, I think is a fascinating discussion point.
Well, he was the bad boy at Tennessee. You know, I remember like he would get called into Mike Slive's office, the commissioner of the SEC, about this thing he said or some other thing he said. And it was like, oh, you know, he's edgy. I don't know if the way we view people has changed over the year. I think it has. I think we like anti-heroes a little more now. But
you think it's because of Breaking Bad?
Maybe. I'm not comparing him to a meth dealer, though.
No. But anti-heroes is the Sopranos Breaking Bad type thing, right?
Right. We're more into that now. We people who push the boundaries, push the envelope. I also think there's just an appreciation for him because he went and won at Florida Atlantic. He's come to Ole Miss in a time of drastic change in the sport, and it feels like he's taken advantage of those changes where, you know, if you came to Ole Miss before, like Matt Luke was trying to do it the old way because that was the only way you could do it. Well, now Lane Kiffin has a bunch of different avenues open to him because the sport is changing rapidly, and he is building a path for Ole Miss to be successful. And would you disagree? Am I crazy if I say that, obviously Alabama and Georgia are on one tier in the SEC, but Ole Miss is on the next tier?
Yeah. I mean, and that it's always interesting when the conferences are there and, SEC is not quite at the level of the ACC, but the ACC is interesting for that reason of, you got 6 or 7 programs that are kind of in a position where if things go the right way, they can ascend. And I think Mississippi is kind of in that position, especially considering the fact that, we joked, let's get Ole Miss to 8-0, 9-0 or whatever when they play Alabama.
That's really possible.
Really, I'd say it's the favorite. Now, the thing that is interesting about Lane Kiffin to me more than anything is that, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like this has changed during the course of my career. There was a certain expectation for coaches to behave a certain way.
Yes.
And to tote the company line and to speak in line and not to be too interesting or too outward. And now in a world with all these evolutionary changes, coaches have a lot of input.
Yeah.
And their thoughts and their feelings and their discussion points are taken differently. And
I like that Lane calls this stuff what it is.
It is what it is.
Even
and
though you're not, so like the NIL stuff, he's like, it's not supposed to be pay for play, but let's be real, it's play for play.
Yeah.
And he's right. And he's not saying it as if there's something wrong with it. He's like, that's just the situation.
Yeah.
And we deal with it.
And it's just a nice breath of fresh air to talk to somebody who just says that they're not offensive.
Yeah.
It's just facts.
Yeah.
It's discussions, it's facts. And who are the people that we want to hear about from this sort of thing the most?
Yeah.
The people who are impacted by it the most. So, I really thought it was a good idea to really get into that stuff with him. And I'm thankful that he was able to, open up and be himself and talk about these things. And it's just like the same thing too about how our players view differently and what they're allowed to say. This is a change that is shifting, not just with coaches, but with players.
Yeah.
And what their platform means.
And it's interesting because we have not seen anybody really take advantage of it
Yeah.
yet, but somebody's going to. I take that back. During the pandemic, when the players, Trevor Lawrence specifically, Justin Fields, when they wanted to make it known that, hey, you guys keep talking about us without asking us, we would like to play.
Yeah.
They took advantage of it then. We've not seen anybody really take advantage of it in this NIL.
You know when it's going to happen?
How's it going to happen?
It's going to happen when a player like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, somebody who is compensated very well for their position, has a passionate stance on an important issue.
Mm-hmm.
And in 10 years ago, that same player wouldn't speak.
Wouldn't say a word, yeah.
And now with the money that's coming in and the future that's ahead, there's a different level of security as it pertains to their ability to say those things.
And maybe it wouldn't be allowed by their program
to
say those things. And now
you
can't restrict someone.
I mean, and those players, we'll get a million comments. People were cheating. Forget all that. They're above board compensated, and their positions as quarterbacks of these major programs have been solidified financially. And back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean 3 years ago, they had to consider, well, if I say something, even if it's the right thing to do, how is this going to impact my financial future?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean for my draft status? And of course, those things are still important because the draft money is going to be more significant than the NIL money. But I think there's a certain level of comfort when you're paid to feel, to feel like you are in a position that people care. Like, listen, you can't pay somebody a bunch of money to endorse your product and then not give a crap what he has to say about the game he plays.
Absolutely.
It's like, you can't, so like that to me, I think is a huge difference. And not only the way they're going to be treated by the universities and the coaches and what they expect in terms of quality of life in these programs, but when issues come out, whether it be a football issue or a social issue, their platforms that they're compensated for are going to be important.
Somebody's going to have a fire podcast one day because a lot of these guys have podcasts. Nobody's had a particularly great one yet. Like, can you imagine if Pat McAfee had a podcast when he was kicking at West Virginia?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been amazing.
It was like, you're going to have sponsored listeners. Like if CJ Stroud or Bryce Young was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about the game for an hour every week on a show. And I'm going to tell you what people said in the piles and the scrums.
Yeah.
How I was feeling after that crucial 4th down.
Yeah.
And they got sponsorships. That would be I think that's the next frontier. Now, I hope not too many of them do it because there's only so many hours in a week, and I want
you do what you got to do. We will continue to put out good shows, and we'll stay in your rotation.
I just don't want to compete with Bryce Young.
We already are competing. I believe he does have a podcast. So
I'm competing with him on my wedding day. My wife saw him. I was like, much. Yeah, that could have, but it could have gone badly if she got a better look at him. But I think this is all very important stuff. And you know what? I think I left Andy, and I think we want to get into the show, but I had a different appreciation for how Mississippi is building their program right now, and the right way to build a program, and how it might change from year to year. Because, as you said, Lane Kiffin has been labeled, or was labeled, retweeted, and endorsed the Portal King name.
Yep.
But he might not have to be the Portal King every year. That's not the way. That's not just like just because you killed the portal one year doesn't mean you're going to be beholden to that strategy.
Right. You may win 10 games again and have a bunch of people say, you know what, I got to play in that offense.
Right.
And these are, you're talking about really good high school players. And, Ole Miss, they just consolidated their different NIL collectives into one. I believe it's called the Grove Collective. And Walker Jones, who used to be an Under Armour executive, is running it. Like, I do feel like they're going to have a chance to get in on some of these guys, especially because of the success. And also recently, even going back to the Hugh Freeze era, Ole Miss puts guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
And puts them in there in a fairly high draft position.
Yeah. And it's like people wonder, like, are these guys going to leave? Or if they're very good.
Right.
Like,
would Quinshawn Judkins leave? Why would he?
Why would you? I mean, I think that Ole Miss is at that level. I think any SEC program, maybe save for a few of the bottom, but even them probably.
But yes, if you're an above average SEC program, you shouldn't have to worry about people.
Yeah. I think this is a far more desirable place to go than to leave.
Yeah.
Depending on what your position is. So, but the fact of the matter is that for whatever reason, Mississippi isn't a particularly deep football state from a high school talent standpoint. Some years they have
some
really
high top end talent.
I'm not saying they don't ever have
now,
good. It's not like
the
it's
JUCO ranks used to be how Ole Miss and Mississippi State could really compete, because those kids would be playing so nearby. You'd kind of have an in, and they may be from Florida or Alabama or Louisiana originally, but you could be like, hey, if you liked being here, just come a few miles away.
And what do you think the reason for that, the high school thing, is just not a lack of a major metropolitan area?
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't mean people.
Doesn't have as many people. So there's going to always be a necessary pivot when it comes to
2 SEC schools. You got to fill.
Yes. So you're going to have to pivot into certain things in other states and other modes of talent accumulation. But I don't feel like Mississippi could never be good unless they have a really good cycle in the portal. I think they can get guys out of high school. They've already shown that some of these high school guys are competing.
Well, and that was the interesting thing talking to Lane about the way he balances it out. He's just looking at it year to year. He really is looking at it more like an NFL GM would look at roster management.
Yeah.
Than a college football coach, which is how every college football coach should be looking at it now.
Yeah. And the thing that's so crazy is it's even harder than the NFL, because in the NFL,
you don't know when somebody's going to be a free agent, because they're always a free agent.
They're always a free agent.
Yeah.
In the NFL, expiring contracts, impending retirements, and you're in control of who you trade. Now it's like getting the 85 and keeping the 85 sounds like such a nightmare.
Can you imagine if they instituted trades? You can't do it.
That's all I ever
with
thought
colleges,
about.
But yeah, I mean, it would be incredible. Like a school that has quarterbacks stockpiled. Like, can you imagine what Jalen Milroe's trade value would be right
what
now?
about Bryce Young's trade value?
Well, you're not trading Bryce Young.
Well, what if you are Alabama?
Here we go.
I disagree with this. I think, like, what about Ohio?
You're not dangling Jalen Milroe to get you like one game breaking receiver. Like,
what if you could trade Bryce Young for 3 first-round picks at other positions?
Well, there aren't round picks though.
No, I know, but you would know.
Yeah,
you would know that Bryce Young is
for that level of player.
Yeah. If you're going to trade Bryce Young,
but let's say Bryce
this.
Young comes back healthy for Alabama, and somebody needs a QB, but they've got to receive a great game breaking receiver. Be like, we're going to take that receiver. You take Jalen Milroe, and now we're good to go.
Actually, I like to even think like Ohio State, because these are the 2 quarterbacks we're talking about. Like Ohio State could trade Stroud for the best linebacker and the best safety in the country.
Oh, more than
start
that.
CJ.
He's worth more than that. Yeah.
Start another 5-star quarterback who's on their roster and win a national title. That would be insane. Now, maybe if they ever become university employees, then you can open that can of worms. But like that, I don't know if you can't trade.
Tells me that's never going to happen, because you are picking the college you want to go to. And
it is a fun world to think about though, because you think about the assets.
Imagine getting traded from Stanford to like MTSU.
Yeah, but also too, like in this world, you also cap. You only can take 5 portal guys a year, and you can trade your portal spots. So like if you could trade, I'll give you this, I'll give you this really good player. I'll give you 3 young 5-star prospects and 2 portal spots. Like, and you start building your team that way. No, but this is college. But it is like an interesting dynamic because there are colleges who have a ton of talent to spare.
Right.
That still, you can have a ton of talent on your bench, but still have holes on your roster.
Exactly.
So like that would be a fun.
Well, I think LSU is a good example of that, where they probably would, if they could, they're deeper at some places. They probably want to trade for some DBs at this very moment. And yeah, I mean, it would be fascinating, but that's not going to happen. But Lane Kiffin, I would say, is taking that view as an NFL GM would. I think you're going to see more, especially at that level where you are a good team in a big conference, but you are not the program that the 5 stars cluster at.
Right. And like the thing is that the quarterback and running back on Ole Miss's roster right now are both 5-star or fringe 5-star players. So, that's the thing.
We're talking about Zach Evans, not Judkins. Judkins
Zach Evans. Yeah. Yes. No, Judkins wasn't, but they have guys coming into this program that wouldn't. Now, the question I have for you, Andy, and maybe we should have even asked Lane this, but I think if you asked most coaches in college football right now, would you rather be the portal king or would you rather still rely heavily on the high school ranks? High school would probably be the number one answer, right?
Because you can build your culture.
Right.
You kind of know what you have year to year. You're not trying to and recruiting the portal is hard. Lane might make it look
it's hard.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's hard because you've got to have a staff that is basically they got to be good reporters. Like they got to know who's going in the portal before they go in. Because if you're just finding out about a guy when he goes into the portal, unless you're Alabama and can just swoop in and be like, "Hi, we're Alabama. We'd like to have you." Everybody else, you better be on them.
Yeah. And the thing too is that like, it does kind of satisfy the coach's instant gratification because there's no development. You already know how they're good. But like the thing that I don't know, Andy, is if somebody goes to a college, doesn't play much, and then enters the portal.
How do you know?
Like that's the thing that is the hardest.
Well, all these staffs have 50 to 100 people on them.
Yeah. You're going to have to find somebody leaving or
hey, can you give me a little practice film? Can you take a look at this guy's practice film?
Yeah.
Give me a little eval.
I mean, that has to be happening.
I know it's happening.
Yeah. So, and at the very least, talking to people you trust that will tell you the truth. But, the thing that is interesting is as Ole Miss, like, let's just say Ole Miss goes undefeated to the Alabama game, beats Alabama or plays them close. Then do you kind of take a step back and reevaluate how you want to build your team for next year or the year after? Or do you continually just say, well, here are how many spots we have. Here's where our weaknesses are. Can we address these with the backups that were on our team last year? Or do we need to go get ready-made players?
The thing is, by the time you get to the end of your season, like Lane will have a very good idea of what high school players he's going to get in the class of 2023.
And which players on his current roster might leave.
Right. So he'll know what positions he's about to get somebody really good at that he'll maybe but may need to develop for a year or two. And how many he's going to get who might be able to play right away. So I think it can be done kind of bespoke year by year.
And it's also okay to say, I don't have a plan. We take it. We'll know in December.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you make the best plan you can by getting the best high school players that will come to you.
Right.
But then after that, be like, now what I think it will do is for the smart coaches, it will eliminate the reach. Well, we have this scholarship. I guess we'll go with this guy. And that's sometimes that really works out. Sometimes it's a player you really believe in that nobody else has offered and you get a great player. But more often than not, there's a reason that player hasn't gotten a bunch of offers. They come in, they don't do much.
Right.
Save that spot for the portal.
And you also don't want to put yourself in a position to offer the wrong high school kid because then you are, if you lose a high school kid and he goes to another school, he might hurt you one time a year if he goes to a school you play.
Yeah.
If you take him, he hurts you every day for 4 years.
Exactly.
So even like if you get a portal guy who's at least maybe you still have some questions or isn't quite a finished product yet, but as a junior or a senior, he can't hurt you for quite as long either. So
if you're wrong, but the hit rate is higher.
The hit rate is higher because the portal guys who are good. Like Jordan Addison isn't like,
there's no question.
Does that count as a hit? Like that's just like obvious.
It's just obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course it's going to be that way.
Sometimes it's less obvious because you may be putting them in a different scheme but a lot of times these guys recruited this player out of high school and have an idea of how they'll fit.
And the truth is that in the high school ranks, there is nobody like that.
Right.
Everybody's a risk, 5-star or 2-star.
Yeah.
In the portal, there are certain guys that are just no doubt about it. So
right.
you already
Caleb
are
Williams and Jordan Addison.
You're already
risk free.
Raising the water level of hit to miss ratio.
Yeah.
So, but certainly think it's interesting because it makes teams better faster.
Mm-hmm.
And Ole Miss's schedule this year really shaped up nicely for them to let them gel and get some experience before they got to the meat of the bones.
In his press conference on Monday, Lane talked about how it kind of feels like one of those NBA free agent, the teams where the free agents all come together the first year, and they kind of, it needs some time to gel, especially with his offensive line.
Right.
And he said, so he's glad the schedule worked out this way because now these guys have kind of learned to play together.
You know what I thought, when I heard that, because we were talking about how good Lane Kiffin was at designing an offense that makes his players look comfortable quickly.
Easy. Yeah. Easy for them to learn. Yes.
So if Ole Miss is moving the ball as well as they have been and have not lost yet, and their coach thinks that they still need time to gel, and I don't want to bring us back to Aggie land, but it's like, my God, what does that mean? Because we're talking, he's the standard for what Jimbo Fisher should be striving to be. And the person that's the standard is saying, hey, we need more time to gel.
Yeah.
So to me, that really hit home of just you don't think that this is going to be a problem for the foreseeable future in College Station. I think that was a nice reminder of just even when it looks like it's working, it's not. And if you go back and you look at the film of the Kentucky game, which was probably one of the biggest wins of Lane Kiffin's.
Oh, I think that's a bigger win than a lot of people realize.
Was it one of the bigger wins of his career?
Yes. And the way they won it.
Right.
I think people have this idea about Lane and the offense that he's running, that they're just going to chuck it around. They are a 64% run team, and they are capable of beating you in a variety of ways. In this particular case, they beat Kentucky with a massive defensive play.
That's
Kentucky
right.
wins that game if there's not a strip sack.
And it's crazy, too, when you think about the margins in the sport, because if the slot receiver for Kentucky just gets set 1 millisecond sooner, they lose. So I'm not saying that's a good or bad. I'm saying that they got that win.
Right. It's hard to win.
It's hard to win.
You guys know I like to get my daily workout in, but in the past, when I had a few beverages the night before, I didn't always get to the gym. And that's a problem. But there is a solution, and it's called ZBiotics. ZBiotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic that is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. So just remember to drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Give ZBiotics a try for yourself. Go to zbiotics.com/Andy to get 15% off your first order when you use the code Andy at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money. No questions asked. Halloween's right around the corner, so order a pack of ZBiotics for you and your friends today to make sure you get it in time for candy and cocktails. And I know it's big in my neighborhood, and I will absolutely be drinking ZBiotics before any trick-or-treating action. Go to zbiotics.com/Andy. Use the code Andy to get 15% off. In a tiny apartment in Southern California, 2 college dropouts teamed up to create a watch company that broke all the rules. With fair prices, unexpected colors, clean and original designs, Movement grew into one of the fastest-growing watch brands, shipping to over 160 countries across the globe. Now Movement has expanded into blue light glasses that protect your eyes from screens, minimalist jewelry, and more style essentials that don't break the bank, all designed out of their California headquarters. I've got the Raptor watch. It is spectacular. People see it and they say, whoa, where did you get that? And they assume I paid hundreds of dollars more than it costs at Movement, because Movement is online. They own their process from start to finish, and they can give you a fair price. Also, I've got a leather card case that I actually started using to carry cash with, because after the pandemic, I realized, oh, I should start carrying cash again. And it's great. It's clean. I don't have that George Costanza wallet feeling in my back pocket. I can throw this in my front pocket, and it just sort of blends in seamlessly. And I got my cash right there. If you want to elevate your look and style,
with great stuff that doesn't break the bank. Then join the movement and get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmt.com/Andy. That's mvmt.com/Andy. 15% off today. Free shipping, free returns. mvmt.com/Andy.
The LSU Tennessee game, I think, is a really good example coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip game. Whoever wins or loses, we're going to feel differently about Brian Kelly or Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't, because if it's a close game, well,
One
there's
play.
one or two little things.
Yeah. But I do think that, like, when you look at the way that Ole Miss is situated right now, that their next 2 weeks, Vandy this weekend, I think, is it okay to assume, this isn't coach speak, they're going to win the game?
I am assuming that.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the following week they play Auburn, which is a very winnable game.
Yes.
And they could be in shambles at that point, depending on what
Auburn
happens with
might,
Georgia.
yeah.
So, you go, and then I think they have A&M after that.
Mm-hmm. Which
So
we don't know what they're going to be.
We don't know what they're going to be at that point either. But they are favored in my mind to win all 3 of those games. So if you're talking about a team that goes 8-0 heading into the Alabama game, which is what we joked about before the year started, that's a hell of a season, Andy. It's a hell of a
season.
I mean, it's almost like house money at that point.
It is.
And then you go into the biggest game of the year with, more gelling occurring and, players feeling good about themselves. And, and this is a team that's always seemed to give Alabama trouble.
I think Katy Perry would come back to Oxford for that.
If she comes, I come.
I was there when she was in Oxford in 2014. That was a wild weekend.
Lane may need to make a call for that. But, I do. This is my first time in Oxford, Andy, and the sandwich was tremendous, but God, this is a pretty campus.
The Grove, we parked right next to the Grove
Yeah.
when we went to talk to Lane, and you just sort of look at, I did not order up this weather for this tour that we're doing.
It's perfect.
But the weather has been, so the highs for the week in the places we've been have basically been like 75 degrees, and it's like 50 degrees at night. I have not seen a cloud since Monday.
And I'm going through the South. I've been through the South many times for personal reasons, but never to the SEC with Mr. SEC, who knows everything. He knows where the food is, he knows where the people are, and he knows where the places to stay are, Andy. So I appreciate that. But this is a place I feel like you could win. Like, sometimes I feel like, there have been years in the past where you would rank Ole Miss towards the bottom half of the SEC.
Or you go to a campus where they're doing well, and you're like, how are they doing this?
Yeah.
You don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way here at all. No. So it's like, if you do the hopeless meter, I don't think Ole Miss is anywhere near the hopeless meter.
No.
And they have been on certain lists in the past for some reason.
Well, and I think during the Matt Luke era, they felt like, because they were doing really well under Hugh Freeze. Then they had the NCAA investigation. They had to fire Freeze for reasons not part of the NCAA investigation. And then the Matt Luke era, I think they felt like they just sort of plateaued. And would they ever get that back? And Lane Kiffin's brought it back real quick.
He did it quickly. And, it's so funny, too, that, before he was hired here, he was a hot name because of the bad boy image that he instilled in all of us from his time at Tennessee. And he did a good job, throwing the flipboard up, all the tweets that he does and stuff. But, we're talking about a coach at Kansas this year who's turned something around very quickly. Yep. Now, this isn't quite as dramatic, of course, but he's proven in a very short amount of time that he can build a program.
Yeah.
Because they were pretty good last year.
Ole Miss, we know what job's going to open in the SEC.
We do.
Ole Miss may have to pay up to make sure Lane stays.
Yeah, and they should.
And they can. And that's the beauty of the SEC. And we've talked about this with Mark Stoops. If you're an SEC school now, and it's the same in the Big Ten, like if, let's say, Jeff Brom or PJ Fleck has an incredible year this year and everybody wants them, those schools can pay to keep them.
Yeah. Well, it is so funny to me about how perceptions can change because, Lane Kiffin was always an attractive candidate when jobs would open before he got to Ole Miss because people thought, well, he's the type of spicy personality that can go get recruits. And it's like, he has his tweets, he has his fun, but I don't think he's been doing it at all in a flashy way.
Yeah.
I think he's been doing it in a pretty efficient way.
And I don't see him as the relentless recruiter that Nick Saban or Kirby Smart is. But he's definitely been smart about picking his spots.
But it doesn't seem like to me that this is a person that you would feel is a major risk to hire anymore.
No, I don't think so at all.
But did you view that he was a risk when Ole Miss hired him?
I think a lot of schools did. I didn't really, just because I understood what he was doing at FAU. We had talked about when he went to work for Nick Saban and the offenses that he went and looked at.
Yeah.
And I knew he liked this offense. He told me, because this is what he ran at FAU as well. And, it had been a little too extreme for Nick to add in to the Alabama playbook. He wound up taking some things from some other places that Lane had been to. But Lane liked the old Baylor offense. And it wasn't necessarily because of the way they threw the ball. It was because of the way you could gain yards on the ground. It's their tempo, but it's also how wide the receivers are split out that forces the safety to tell you, I'm going to drop into zone coverage, or I'm going to be up here in the box and try to defend the run, which makes your quarterback's decision really easy. If you're running an RPO, or if you're just calling the play in from the sideline, it makes your play caller's decision very easy.
Yeah.
So because the receivers are outside the numbers, so that unless you have just incredible lockdown corners, you can't disguise what your safeties are doing. And so it's one of those offenses where if they lined up the last time in a light box and you gained, 5-6 yards, just run the same play again, and you will gain another 5-6 yards.
Yeah, no, it's hard to get out of that sort of, and that's the whole point of it, and it's like the offensive, ease that in which these new players have played is one thing. The scheme is good.
Yeah.
But I also feel like he has developed into and kind of matured into a very good program manager.
Yeah.
And like his NFL background might play into it, his understanding. And
we should have asked him. It was the recently the 10-year anniversary, or not the 10-year. What year is it? It would have been the 15-year anniversary of him sending Sebastian Janikowski out to try a 76-yard field goal.
Yeah, we should have
asked about that. I feel bad now.
15 years since then.
Yeah, we're old. He was young though. Think about that.
Yeah.
He was younger than you are now as the coach of the Oakland Raiders.
There are a lot of people who are younger than I am now that have done a lot more with their life. I'm proud of that.
I wouldn't have hired me to run a Wendy's.
Yeah.
At the age Lane
Stuart
Kiffin
Mandel
was.
wouldn't hire me to run the athletic fantasy football league.
You sound bitter about that.
I'm a little bit bitter about it.
Okay. No, it's all right.
No, I hope I get the job and I'm going to spend all their money.
You worked out. It worked out well for you. It gave you more time to podcast.
Oh, I also know what side of the podcasting wars I want to be on, Andy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how's that?
I think I'm on your side.
Good.
I'm going to start a feud with them.
With Mandel and Bruce?
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't think that I'm worthy?
Well, they were talking trash about you recently.
Yeah.
So.
Multiple times.
Wow.
On multiple different episodes.
So we're gonna have like some Jets and Sharks going on.
Yeah, I don't have anything negative to say right now. I'll have to think about it, but I'm gonna pick my spots.
Ooh. This could get spicy. This really could get I gotta figure out, because Stuart is kind of management at our company, so we gotta be a little careful how we approach this. I don't know if we can be too and who doesn't like Bruce? Like, how can you be mad at Bruce?
I don't know if they dislike me. I don't dislike them, but that doesn't mean we can't start a feud.
Okay. All right, Audible, you heard it. We're at war. Get ready.
Yeah, it's all it's like the East Coast West Coast thing.
Are you Biggie and
I guess
Diddy?
I'm probably Biggie.
Does that make me Diddy? But you're the more talented one.
No, then yeah. I mean, are we going by body type or talent? I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, you are the naturally gifted, like just.
You're Mace because he's handsome and smooth.
I'm not Mace. Mace mumbled. What'd you know about going down?
Well, why did you think that we were in New York? Because they live in California, I guess.
I think so. We live close. I live on the East Coast.
Okay,
but listen,
I want to be Tupac.
Let's be real. We're the dirty South.
Yeah, that's right.
We're in the dirty South right now. Like we are an hour from where Academy Award winners 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah, that's
grew up. So
wow. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. You have to give me a tour, but I will say, Andy, that I am very impressed with this place, and I think it's really cool to see them actually, kind of doing what, it looked like their ceiling was, or what they could do on the field this year. And, wins like the one that they had against Kentucky a week ago are make or break wins, and they got it. Yep. So good for them. And it'll be very fun and entertaining to see how Lane approaches his roster management year over year.
Absolutely. Now, our next stop is Tuscaloosa. We're headed there for the Alabama-Texas A&M game. Thursday, we're going to be in Tuscaloosa. They have a guest host each week of the season for Nick Saban's radio show. And that guest host this week is me. Now, I have done this a couple other times. The first time I thought I would never be invited back afterward because it was the 2012 A&M Alabama game, the one Johnny Football dropped the ball, caught it again, threw the touchdown, and then, they end up beating number 1 Alabama. But they did invite me back during COVID to do it remotely before the Georgia game. So that worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah.
So,
So you're the good luck or the bad luck?
I don't. We'll find out.
I guess this is the.
I do remember when I did it in 2012. Nick Saban basically described to the crowd at the radio show exactly how Texas A&M would beat them, and then Texas A&M beat them in exactly the way he described.
Yeah, I wish I could read a story about that game.
Oh, funny you should mention that, Ari.
Why? Oh,
I just filed 3,100 words on the Texas-Alabama 2012 or the Texas A&M Alabama 2012 game to run in the Athletic on Thursday.
oh, okay,
There you go.
awesome. That worked out well for me.
What synergy? So yeah, no, Ari's been listening to me.
I've read the story before it was written.
He heard several of the interviews and has seen me sweating out. Will this guy call me back? Or this guy's got sick kids and I can't call him now.
You know,
and
Andy, I
hopefully
was
I'll get a hold of him.
surprised to see that you had a hard time getting people to call you back. I thought that was kind of like a Minions thing, like people like me.
Oh,
I thought people always called you back.
No.
All right, so it's nice to see that I'm not the only one that gets.
Listen, when you agree to do this job, part of that is agreeing to sweat out. Will this person call me back?
Yeah. Okay. I thought that maybe there was a point in time where you had to stop doing that, but
I think Peter King, like when I worked with him at SI, it always felt like everybody picked up on the first ring for him.
Yeah,
but
do you
that's
think,
pretty much it.
Like Shams freaks out about whether someone's going to call him back.
Yes. I think Woj does.
You think Woj does?
I think Schefter does. I think Rappaport does.
Yeah.
They all do.
Yeah, there's on a much.
Bruce Feldman doesn't.
Yeah, Bruce Feldman doesn't.
Bruce, they call him or he texts them and they text right back. Or if they don't text right back, he texts somebody else who makes him text back.
Yeah. Yeah. Bruce has called me a few times in the last few months and I've missed his call.
I know a guy.
But
so he worked with the strength coach.
Yeah.
This is our war right now. We're just doing impressions of each other.
Yeah. And I texted him immediately to show him some respect, saying, "Hey, can't talk right now. I will return your call as soon as I can," and then did. So you don't want to miss a call from Bruce Feldman, but maybe I'll get a call after the show. We'll see. I might want to miss that one.
Oh, I think they're going to do it on the show. I think whatever bombs they have to throw at us will be on the now.
But you're on my side. You're not going to leave me stranded on an
Here's
island.
the question. So if they are the West Coast, which is one of them Dre, one of them Tupac, was one of them Snoop? Stewart's not Snoop. Stewart's Dre.
Okay,
I think
there's no
Stewart has to be Dre because of the management aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Feldman is Tupac.
Oh, 100%.
Like, there's no discussion.
And if you've ever met Bruce when he's hungry,
yeah,
it is the intensity of every time Tupac took the mic.
And I'm Biggie, and
I'm Andre 3000.
Okay, you can be Andre 3000. Okay.
I'm Southern. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pretend to be a New Yorker. So,
okay.
No, I'll take Big Boy or Andre 3000, either one. But I think I'm more Andre.
Bruce,
3000.
stay away from my wife, please. Okay.
Oh, good Lord. The hit 'em up that comes out of this is going to be just spectacular. Everybody, it's been a blast. We will talk to you very soon from Tuscaloosa. Nicole Auerbach will be here. We're going to be picking games against the spread, and then it'll be me and Nick Saban talking to the callers in Alabama.
Well, man, I'm jealous of you.
This will be you in like a year.
Okay, I hope so. I want to do the Nick. That's my career goal, to do the Nick Saban show.
I bet you're doing it next year, and I'll just hang out and eat wings.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. But thanks so much for listening. An awesome trip to Mississippi, and stay tuned throughout the end of the week. I'll let you wrap this up. But it's been fun so far.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.